I want to welcome you this evening. This is a regularly called and convened Greer City Council meeting. Having called the meeting to order, we are going to move directly to a public hearing, and then we're going to make a few changes in the agenda as we go along, but the public hearing is scheduled for this evening, and we're going to proceed with that. I believe Mr. Alex Cahill is here this evening with us, and sir, the podium is yours. I will let you do introductions and tee this piece of the public hearing to order, and we'll go from there.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We actually are going to have Francisco Arnaiz present tonight. He is from Greenville County Redevelopment Association. I do want to clarify my apologies. Do we normally present first for the public hearing, or do we present later on in item 3?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to leave that up to you. Typically, in this case, we're going to, I would recommend we just open the floor to any comments on the plan, and then we can get into the details before council votes on item 3 in new business. So if you're so inclined, you may want to just open the public hearing to the floor after a short introduction on the subject matter by GCRA staff, and then we'll get into the details under item 3 under new business. But we can handle this however you want.
No, that's fine. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and do the overview by GCRA, and then we'll move on into our business part of it as we go along.
Jim, we won't need to go to the slides, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you then, Mr. Mayor. Before the public hearing, so this is a item to open the public hearing for our entitlement funds. These are funds received through the federal government. This is typically referred to as CDBG or HOMES funds. We've had the privilege and benefit of having Greenville County Redevelopment Authority manage that entitlement fund program for us for quite some time. And so I'm actually going to turn it over to Francisco tonight. He's going to talk a little bit about what's on the docket before y'all go ahead and open up the public hearing.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Council. Good evening, everybody. My name is Francisco Arnaiz. I'm the Program Manager at Greenville County Redevelopment Authority. Later on the agenda, we'll go through about a 10-slide presentation going over what the allocation is for the City of Greer, what the anticipated budget is, and what the activities we're proposing to do with Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Program funds in the City of Greer for the upcoming 2026 program year. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As with the public hearing, we generally do give an opportunity to address the item or the programs that are in front of us. I am going to hold that opportunity over until we get to the items that are shown on the agenda, where we will actually have the discussion in regards to the allocation of those funds. In fact, at this point, having called the meeting to order, I think it may be most appropriate that I go ahead and just close the hearing at this point in time, and we will open it up again as we get over to the agenda items under new business. That way we can take questions as well after the presentation. So if you are here for the public hearing and want to speak to that after we have the reports from both our staff and from the GCRA or the CBGD, we will entertain those in just a little while. In that same vein this night, since we're going to go ahead and call the public hearing to a close at this point, let's go ahead and move forward with the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I would ask that if you would like to participate, that you join us by standing. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we invoke your presence here this evening with us and thank you for the opportunity to serve this great community. We thank you for the participation this night and for the matters that are going to come before us. We pray that you'll give us insight and understanding as a council. We thank you for the responsibility that you've placed upon us to be in these chairs. We also thank you for those that have come this evening to participate in our government. As citizens and those that are concerned about the betterment of the city of Greer. We thank you for the blessings that you have offered upon us and remind ourselves and others of those in our community that are less fortunate and deal with issues that may not be prevalent on our minds at all times. And so be with those folks as they deal with the stresses of the differences in their lives as well, too. We ask now that you go with us through the rest of this meeting. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
We've got one item for public forum this evening. We're going to go ahead and move forward with that, and then the minutes, and then we'll get into some special recognitions. I know we've got a number of the winners from the Jury to Art show this evening here, and so that I see some school-aged children. I know they're just dying to get home and get on with their homework and that sort of thing. So we are going to take the first part of the meeting here and move forward with that. We have one person that has indicated they'd like to speak this evening in regards to a public forum. Mr. Jesse March, if you are available, come to the podium. If you would state your name and address as a matter of record, we will entertain your petition in public forum.
My name is Jesse Peter Marsh. I'm at 109 Madison Ave, Greer, South Carolina. And the reason I'm here tonight, I'm concerned about what's going on with the Sports Center event. I come before you tonight to bring you my opinion and perspective on the Sports and Event Center and budget, Greer. Over the past Greer have been a gifted situation which other cities would die for. We are growing beyond our wisdom dream, with Northern folks retiring, moving up here, bringing money and prosperity. Due to the idiotic action of this administration, appointed by a prior councilor, we should be flush with cash, but instead we find ourselves buried in debt, struggling to come up for air. The lack of reality of exemplifying by this mess. Victor Mill Gym, a staple of local community, was closed, and the intent replacement is too far away and not available for us. According to the RFP, 20% of the Sports and Event Center bid was meant to go local and minority. That's what I have a problem with. There's no minority that I know have got any work there, probably some. But Mayor, I spoke to you at the breakfast, the Mother King breakfast. I gave you my card. I went to Hopper Construction, and everything was given out. Nothing at all. Every time I go there, it's given out. So I don't know what's going on. Somebody getting their hands pocket full of something, but we're paying it. These guys are coming from Michigan, all over, making thousands of dollars. And thousands on the taxpayer money. So the people sitting here, they don't understand. Trust me, they're getting all their money, taking it away. Nothing for the city of Greer. I'm one who stands here, totally love Greer, a taxpayer, but I've been rejected, and I got a lot of other folks been rejected. A lot of them. Nobody can understand why. I went to Hopper Construction, spoke to the engineer there. Oh, you know, we gave this out a year ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, a week ago. But I was there when it broke ground. And so I just want to know from you tonight and the city manager, what are you doing for minorities? Not a black man, the minorities. What are you doing to rectify that problem? And where did the money go? I just feel that somebody somewhere made a decision without someone else looking over their shoulders. I'm not calling a person a thief, but I said it's a fly in the milk. And I just want, later, it will come out. I've already made a request to be on the news, and I'm trying to find out all the money that's allocated to City of Greer for the last 3 years. Where did it go? If there was any federal money, where did it go? I may not be as intelligent as you think I am, but I'm not stupid either. I will find out, trust me, I will find out where the money. She called the mayor, called your office, and you told her there was no money available for the minorities. There was no 20%. Now somebody's lying. There she is. So I just want to know is and where, later, the budget will show where the money was. You got a lot of Spanish guys working out there, but they're not the owners. I know that. I know they don't own the company. I've did my research work. I know 7 or 8 of them don't even live here, but they're getting that money. So my concern is that the City of Greer should be fairly, the city councilman should be fairly, our administration should change and do the right thing. It's not about a good old boy, it's about what's right. And I believe in my heart that somebody one day is going to fresh to the surface. We'll see. I'm going to continue, but thank you very much, young. Victor Mills is giving a tip of the local community to close. Okay. According to the RFP, 20% of the sports and event center bid was meant to go to the local minority. We are so far over budget that we have to stoop to be shady bond deals without organization. Rock Hill serves as stock reminder that the price is expensive. The citizens continue to pay their price several months in their accessory utility bill. You raise the tax on the citizen, and yet we're still planning to be saddened in debt for our decade now. This is not why we elected you. I'm calling on this administration to cease the crooked problem and be correct and make things work for the City of Greer. Not saying that anything is wrong, I can't pinpoint, but Mayor, something's not right. You got $60 million, you got taxpayers here. And we just treat it unfairly. So somebody got the hands in somebody's pocket, but the decision was made without organization. See, if we don't come together as taxpayers, this is going to go on and on and on. I'm personally involved with an organization to research this administration and for what's doing right, what's wrong, not the personal life with the sport event. And so that's probably what I want to say tonight. And I don't call your office here. When I call your office, we'll get back to you. We'll get back. Never come. I had other businessmen call, several of them, never returned the call. They called me one day to come up there, meet me to try to satisfy me, but that's not it. I want the same right that any other contractor come to Hopper Construction. Hopper Construction said they was told who to give the contracts to. And that shows me right there somebody got the cookie jar. And if I have to subpoena him here to his face, he said they was told. They knew who they were going to give the contract to before they even broke ground. And that's unethical. That is not right. So I believe the city manager in the City of Greer and you should be responsible to make sure the citizens are right, to make sure that we're treated fairly, to make sure that the money is spent correctly. That's why you're the mayor. That's why he's the city administrator, manager. So if you don't have two people in power that's doing the right thing, you're going to have flock everywhere you go. The first thing, my dad used to say, the charity starts at home. That means if you're right in your heart and you get the right city manager and you do the right thing, I wouldn't be here today. I'm not the only one here got complaints. A lot of people don't have the nerve to stand up. But I got the nerve to stand up and go all the way because it's not being right. It's just not right. I can go up. You see, I've been in construction for a while. I went on that site. They didn't even know who I was. I thought, hey, that's but I have found out some stuff that you won't believe. It's like I said, it's a fly in the milk. It's going to come out. I know When I came, I knew before I walked in the door tonight. Probably when you leave, it's gonna be da. But see, you can't satisfy me like that. I want the people to be treated right. It's not all about me. It's about other minorities and other business people living here, black and white. You got people living in this city, grass cutters, et cetera, et cetera. They got all these Spanish guys out there, and they're in the background. They're in the background. The Spanish guys just laborers. But I'm intelligent enough to know that it goes beyond there. So we want to find out where the money is going. $60 million, somebody got some money in their pocket. And I know that.
I don't have any of that money in my pocket.
Well, you know why? Because you're probably not part of the clique.
All right.
You're not part of the clique.
We appreciate
If you stand here, sir,
Sir.
are you telling me tonight?
Sir,
Okay, y'all.
we appreciate you sharing your opinion, and we appreciate whoever wrote that for you coming tonight and reading it.
Well,
Your time's up.
I'm going to leave. I'm asking one question before I leave.
Okay.
Will you faithfully say that you would give some minorities some work out of this $60 million?
There are minorities working on that job, yes, sir.
She just said the same, that you're working on it. She said the next phase. When is the next phase? You go on. I told the guy, it's always the next year or 6 months later or 5 months. But the time is now. They got the money. The time is now. And you're the mayor and the city manager. You can do something about it.
And I am
Okay,
quite comfortable with where we are. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Council, in your packet is the minutes from March 10th on the 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
And a second. Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan.
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. All right, Council, we're going to go ahead and move to the winners of the juried art show. Robin Bayuk joins us this evening. She's the cultural arts supervisor, and we've got some folks that we want to recognize this evening for their work at the art show.
So the same people that wrote that for him sent the news people. That's a crock.
How many years we've been doing a jury show? I don't know.
Like 12.
One of the things that I do enjoy about our cultural arts program is the jury art shows, and they have turned into quite an event, and we get to recognize those folks that have participated in these. And I would always urge you to take the opportunity to go and see these shows. It is amazing the amount of talent that we have in this area, and those folks that enter their artwork, and some of it is available as well too. And I would urge you to take advantage of that to support our local artists. And so we do this by divisions, and we are going to start tonight with our adult division. And as I call your name, if you would come up here to the front, and if you'll stay just a moment, we're going to get a picture of each group. So we will start with third place in the adult division, Carlton Henderson. Second place is Clint Anderson.
Already had it, I think. When was it?
And in the adult division, first place, Best in Show, goes to Frida Sue. We'll start this way. How about that? Mike, if y'all sit down, we're gonna get everybody back up for one big picture at the end. How about that? In our student division, third place goes to Jimena Morales. Second place, Anastasia Sabella. And first place this evening is Zachary Wamselli. In the photography division, Nanette Latista. Nanette took second place, and our first place winner, several years in a row, Mac Loftus. Three D division. Second place goes to Catherine Preston. And first place goes to Tom Zumbach. Honorable mentions, Judge's Choice, Janice McElligott. Katie Garcia. And Molly Andrews. And our staff picks. Lakia Jeremy Jeremiah. Cindy Moore. Even better at this. Cindy Moore. Oh, Cindy's up here. Elizabeth Brown. Zoe Shuffleden. And Zoe Wang.
Lots of pictures.
Y'all will stay up here. Stay up here for just a minute. All of our recipients, now come on back up and we'll get one picture of everybody.
I'd have to make a double roof. But. Yeah, oh yeah. Tall ones in the back.
Guys, can you squish together? There we go.
Yeah, that would be good. You might mention that to Robin. You might mention that to Robin, to include that.
Oops, that's not the one.
Thank you. Please. We'll give just a moment for those folks to head for dinner or homework or whatever awaits them.
Mine? I'm not speaking. I can fix that.
Well, let's see. I've got some more stuff to do standing up.
Your voice carries, I guess. Like you have Hutton, when I speak, people's voice is heard.
Got a little hasty with the barrier there. Some of our staff found that very amusing. Won't call any names out. Some of them got tickled. We got a resolution this evening that recognizes some of our Greer City employees. And we'd like to take this time to recognize them and their length of service with us. It's something we do on a regular basis and have done for years. And it's always an opportunity for us to recognize those folks who have been with us over a period of time and to give them a small thanks for what they do for us on a daily basis. And so this resolution reads, whereas the City of Greer endeavors to recognize and reward its dedicated and faithful employees, and whereas Ashley Bruton has served in the police department for 5 years, Harold Dennis has served in the public service department for 5 years, Mark King has served in the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Division department for 5 years, Scott Matheson has served in the municipal court for 5 years, Colby Means has served in the fire department for 10 years, Robert South has served in the fire department for 10 years, Josh Holzheimer served in the fire department for 15 years, Justin Miller served in the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism department for 15 years, and Cunningham served as Park, Recreation, and Tourism department as the head of that department for 20 years. Rich Varsity served in the police department for 25 years. These employees have served in a distinguished and professional manner, so now it is therefore resolved that the City of Greer, South Carolina, in a duly assembled meeting, wishes to officially recognize and commend these boys for the distinguished and dedicated service which they have performed. It further resolved that the City of Greer hereby rewards these dedicated employees with a certificate of appreciation and administrative day with pay approved this 24th day, March 2026. So, everybody except me.
Everybody said
That's first.
I need a walker coming up.
Ashley Burton.
Charles, the only one count runner. You be the only one on council that could out.
Harold Dennis. Mark King. Todd Matheson.
They gotta be in attendance to get that day.
All big names. Robert South.
If you would just keep him in your prayers, he's in Iraq, he's been deployed.
Josh Holzheimer. Dustin Miller. Ann Cunningham.
I love you, Ann.
We can all look the other way while you,
Watch that hand.
say dang thing.
Okay.
Get from there? Can you get it from there? Okay. Fill these in a little bit, everybody.
Thank you. Carolina Robertson's here. Okay. Absolutely. Every one of you, because we're gonna take a picture, y'all need to be there.
Oh.
Now, I know y'all do a lot of things.
We do.
This is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so we have with us tonight,
So Sam is
Sam.
our program coordinator for the Green program.
okay,
And Lisa is, she helps with she's our financial manager. South Carolina Children's Trust and the grant reconciliation.
great. So just another one of those opportunities that this community takes to help its neighbors, and we appreciate everything that you ladies and the organization does to help in that regard. And old enough that I still call it Greer Relief.
Well, no, it is still Greer Relief.
Okay, all right.
But the center is the Indigo Hope Neighborhood
Indigo
Impact
Hope.
Center.
All right, thank you.
Yes, no, we're still Greer Relief.
Okay, all right. So this proclamation reads as such: this is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and whereas South Carolina's 1.1 million children residing in the diverse communities across our state, including 207,000 children in Greenville and Spartanburg County, are our most valuable resource and will shape the future of our great state. Whereas childhood trauma, including neglect and abuse, is a serious issue affecting all parts of our community and requires collective action. As such, trauma can cause long-term psychological, emotional, and physical harm. And whereas protective factors strengthen children and families and effective child abuse prevention relies on strong partnerships among child-serving professionals, community, and healthcare, law enforcement, and families. Whereas communities must make Whereas in state fiscal year 24-25, there were 7,024 substantiated child protection services investigations with 12,371 children in South Carolina and 1,114. Now therefore, I, Mayor Rick Danner, do hereby proclaim April the 26th as Child Abuse Prevention Month throughout Greer. Encourage everyone to dedicate themselves to protecting the quality of life for all families and children so that we can end child neglect and abuse. I think it would be appropriate if y'all want to say something to address this.
Yes, I'd say it takes a village, and truly, we can't do it without the partnerships we have in the community, be it law enforcement, be it our DSS and our other providers. Triple P program, that is one way that we are helping answer that. Typically fund. Also, just try to answer a call as you. Thank you.
Where's your big camera, Tom?
Thank y'all. All right, council, I think we're getting ready to get back on track here. Departmental reports are contained in your packet this evening. You have those before you as always. Department heads and/or Mr. Merriman will be glad to help you with that. Mr. Chris Klein comes with our financial report, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Financial performance summary for the month of February 2026. General fund had a cash balance of $30,707,000. Year-to-date revenues of $42,449,000. Year-to-date expenditures of $37,476,000, and we were 1% over budget. We had a favorable revenue benchmark variance of $2,649,000. An unfavorable expenditure benchmark variance of $2,620,000, and an overall favorable benchmark variance of $29,000. Moving on to hospitality fund, we had a cash balance of $2,098,000, year-to-date revenues of $2,680,000, and year-to-date expenditures of $2,848,000. Finally, stormwater fund, we had a cash balance of $4,417,000, year-to-date revenues of $1,450,000, and year-to-date expenditures of $972,000. With that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Floor is open, council.
Were you able to send me the graphing of the long-term revenues that, for the, I didn't get it if you did.
Yes, sir, I did email it to you, but I'll.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later.
Yes,
when
sir.
we get it. Thank you.
Questions? Comments?
On the hospitality fund,
Yes, sir.
I noticed you said we spent about 200,000 more than what we've brought in. Is that right?
Yes, sir, currently. So we do have a budgeted transfer from the hospitality fund to the general fund of $2 million, and so that did go through in the month of February. So that was a big chunk there. We kind of wait to do it till the end of the year when we have a little more cash flow in that fund to do so. But we will, that's been a bulk of the expenditures, and we just have the rest of the revenue for monthly hospitality that we'll receive throughout the rest of the fiscal year.
Are we tracking what we need to be on that fund?
Yes, sir. We were under budget for this past month, but overall, we are still, tracking, and we are ahead of last year, year to date.
Further discussion? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Council, let's move to the administrator's report. Mr. Merriman.
Mr. Mayor, council, thank you.
This
Mr.
is-
Airwood,
I just wanted to remind council again, in the fire department activity report, please take a look at that for the EMS transport delays. In the month of February, we had 20 responses that were over 20 minutes or greater. That's from EMS coming. We had 7 that were a total of 30 minutes or greater going into the 40-minute category. And then the other one, I mentioned this is where we have to provide the ALS service, where we take a person from out of our staff and they go to the hospital in the ambulance with the folks because the counties aren't showing up with qualified people. There was 2 in Greenville County and 3 in Spartanburg County, so.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Merriman.
thank you, Mr. Mayor, council. Mr. Airwood, I just took Mr. Klein's email that he sent you and forwarded it to you and all of council
Great.
to
Thank
ensure
you.
that's at the top of your inbox. So
Thank you.
you should have that. A couple real quick things. First of all, I would like to personally thank the Greenville Fire Department, the Pelham Batesville Fire Department, Taylor's Fire Department, and the Lake Cunningham Fire Department for services that they rendered to the citizens of Greer last week as we, the fire department in particular, said goodbye to one of their own during the funeral of Lieutenant Taylor Graham. Those 4 departments stepped up and covered the city during the time of the funeral. So for me and the city, to those departments and their leadership, I want to thank you for being faithful to the fire service and to fellow firefighters. Also want to remind this council and the city of the Big Bash this weekend. 150th, so happy 150th to the City of Greer. The countdown to the biggest party of the year is on. Join us on Saturday, March the 28th for a day of fun, celebrating 150 years of Greer. The Big Bash will take place in various locations throughout downtown Greer. Starting at 4, there will be music, pop-up shows, a classic car show, trade and craft demonstration, artisan market vendors, food vendors, a kids zone, and Greer 150 merchandise. For the schedule and more information, see the City of Greer website. Mr. Mayor, council, that concludes my report.
Council, I would add as well, too, remember the event that takes place at the Depot tomorrow night. We will have a full slate of items there for you and for some of our community as we celebrate the kickoff of the 150th birthday of the city. And I think the presentations that are going to be presented tomorrow night will be well worth your time. And then on Thursday night, Spartanburg Municipal Association meeting is going to be held at our museum. We've got a number of folks that will be coming from other municipalities in the Spartanburg area to see and hear the story of the Greer Museum. And I know you'll want to be a part of that. If you have not seen the new exhibit yet, you are going to be blown away. And Mr. Lovegrove and possibly some of his family may be there. We will have some of the volunteers as well, too, for explanation of some of the exhibits. And I think you're going to really enjoy that. So we look forward to seeing y'all for the next couple of evenings if you can make time to do that. With that, then, we're going to move to appointments of boards and commissions. In the Planning Commission, we have a resignation. District 5 Tremaine Booker has resigned. His term was to expire June 30th, 2027. Mr. Booker, do you have anybody at this time to nominate for a position on the Planning Commission?
That'd be mine.
Oh, excuse me. Well, we've got somebody that's rather close to Mr. Jermaine Booker, so I just got a little confused there. So, Mr. Bettis, do you have somebody you'd like to nominate to the Planning Commission this evening?
I am very sorry to lose Tremaine, but I'm working on a replacement.
Okay, thank you. We will look forward to having somebody in that seat before too much longer. And tell your brother we'll miss him. Let's move on to old business. There's only one item of old business this evening, and this is the second and final reading of ordinance number 6-2026. This is an ordinance to change the zoning classification of a certain property owned by Kimberly Chapman Edens, also known as Kimberly Sims, located at 116 and 118 Pleasant Drive, and Pleasant Drive from suburban neighborhood to traditional neighborhood. The floor is yours, ma'am.
I don't have any updates on this item, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Dahl. With that, then, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved. Second.
And second. No new or additional information. This comes to you with the recommendation from both staff and the Planning Commission. With that, I will open the floor for discussion. Comments? Questions? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
No.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, thank you. Let's move to items of new business. The first of which is the City of Greer Capital Projects Department solicited sealed bids from qualified offerers for detention center roofing replacement. The project cost was budgeted in the general fund. Ms. Camacaro joins us for this discussion. She is our procurement and grants supervisor. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening to you and council. As the mayor mentioned, the Capitals Projects Department solicited sealed bids for this project to do roofing replacement over our detention center. We received 3 bids. One of the companies was non-responsive. Our team recommends award to IES Coating Inc. And with that, I'll open it for any questions.
Council, for the purposes of discussion, now entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Questions?
Are any of these companies minority owned?
I would have to check. I don't know that we requested for that certification specifically for this project.
But they all, it seems like we have Greenville, Greenwood, and West Columbia, but one was non-responsive, okay.
Yes.
There's a rather large difference in the quoted price there. Is it, I mean, the scope was
Scope was
well-defined
same,
and?
yes. Scope was the same for all 3. And we provided a pre-bid meeting, which they were able to tour the facility and check exactly what are the conditions. We also had a good question and answer session after that to specifically define any additional questions from the bidders. So we felt comfortable that the scope was correct, and we were able to move forward and get good bids to come in.
I believe the issue was, if you looked at the roof on the detention center, once we had actually 8 contractors go and do the pre-bid, and when they got up there, they saw all the equipment, all the issues. And
Okay.
it kind of became a daunting task to even think about putting in a bid for that. They believe we have one non-responsive. There's a
Okay.
lot of stuff on that one section of roof.
Okay. Well, it makes sense that the local contractor should be able to do a little bit better with not having to pay per diem and all that stuff, so.
Others? Questions? Comments? Discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. This will be the first and the final reading of a resolution, which is 6-2026. It's the allocation of the Greenville County CDBG and Home Fund for the program year 2026. This, it comes to us from a resolution. We also will have information from Greenville County in that regard. Is your presentation applicable to the county's information as well too, or should we treat these separately at this point?
It's all one. My recommendation would be to do the presentation first and then open the public hearing, but that's at the discretion of council.
Okay, we'll go ahead with the presentation and then I will open the public hearing at that point.
Great. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and honorable council members. Alex Cahill with the Planning and Development Department. I'm going to introduce Francisco Arnaiz tonight. GCRA has partnered with the city for a long time in administering our entitlement funds, as you heard earlier, through CDBG and the Homes Partnership Funds. Each year, GCRA submits an annual action plan on behalf of the city to the federal government. These funds are then administered and run through GCRA on behalf of the city. For program year 2026, the City of Greer does anticipate receiving around $288,000 in these funds, which includes an annual allocation and estimated program income. These funds are intended to benefit and must benefit low and moderate income residents, address neighborhood needs, and support community development activities. There's also some subrecipient funding that Francisco will talk about tonight, and that needs to support community organizations and city programs that provide services to residents, including youth, seniors, and families in need. With that, I'm going to turn over to Francisco with GCRA, and he'll give you a more in-depth detail of what we are proposing in this year's budget. Thank you.
Mr. Arnaiz, before you get started, let me go ahead and we have stopped and started already a public hearing. Let's just go ahead and make this official for your presentation, and then we will have a period of time for questions and answers if there are any from the public. So I'd like to call the public hearing to order. This is a notice of a public hearing and a comment period for the Greenville County Program Year 2026-27, the annual action plan for the use of HUD funds in municipalities. Mr. Arnaiz joins us for that from the office, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Good evening, everybody, again. Alex did a great job introducing what we're doing here, what we're going to be talking about. I'll run through some further details tonight. Again, I'm Francisco Arnaiz, Program Manager. With me, of course, is Joe Smith, our Executive Director. And any questions we'll be able to answer for you during the presentation or after. Quick agenda for you, even though this is going to be a short presentation. We'll go over an introduction, who GCRA is, purpose of this meeting, funding types, national objectives, and eligible uses of these funds, the upcoming budget for 2026 concerning HUD funds through GCRA for the City of Greer, and proposed activities, projects, and next steps. Just as a background to Greenville County Redevelopment Authority, we were created through South Carolina Act 516 in 1969. Shortly after, 5 years later, Community Development Block Grant was created from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Every year thereafter, we've worked on projects concerning acquisition, demolition, redevelopment of neighborhoods, slum and blight remediation, public services, and affordable housing. Throughout the last 50 years, that's been our focus. New programs have come out, which we've rolled into the programs we offer at GCRA, namely concerning affordable housing and then homelessness programs. And of course, we administer Greenville County affordable housing funds, which are local revenue funds for the use of, for the creation or purchase, renovation of affordable rental or homeownership housing. Budget projects overview, I'll go over that. And lastly, we'll have an opportunity for public comment and questions. One thing to keep an eye out for, and one of the reasons we're here, we're part of what's called an urban county agreement. So essentially, the City of Greer has entered into an agreement with Greenville County and using Greenville County Redevelopment Authority as the administrator of HUD funding on behalf of the City of Greer. We have the financial management, we have the staff, we have the experience in administering these funds, creating planning documents, entering into contracts, implementing projects and programs. And so we do this. We propose projects to the City of Greer. The City of Greer decides which projects to fund, which programs to fund, and then we help with contract administration and implementation. That urban county agreement allows us to do that. That's renewed every 3 years, and so this upcoming year will be a year of renewal, and then it's good for another 3 years. Lastly, the amount that's allocated to Greenville County is a certain dollar amount for 3 different programs. We back into the amount that's allocated to the City of Greer based on population, amount of households in poverty, and amount of overcrowded units. We put this into a formula to come out with what is allocated to be used in the City of Greer. One of the requirements and one of the planning documents which we create is called an annual action plan. So essentially, before we do anything, we have to propose it, we have to open it up for public comment, we need to put it in a document and lay out what the activity is, who it's going to benefit, what it's going to cost, and the scope of the project. That action plan will be made public on GCRA's website in April for public comment also for 30 days. And so what pertains to the City of Greer, we're making open for public comment today, which has gone back a couple of weeks and will extend until March 27th. As I mentioned, we receive an allocation from HUD annually. We back into what is available and budgeted for the City of Greer. So this is the estimated funding allocation for 2026 on the screen. We then budget into specific line items. These line items are not projects and they're very flexible. We can move from one line item to another with ease. We work with the city manager, the development director, and city staff to see what projects we want to focus on. But we are required to put it into a line item budget. One of the funding programs we manage is called Community Development Block Grant. These funds essentially must benefit primarily low to moderate income households or persons. Wide range of activities we can do with this funding source, from housing rehabilitation to funding public service programs, and that could be programs administered or run by nonprofits or even through the city. And we can also fund public infrastructure and facility projects, among other things. What's not on the screen, also facade improvements or economic development programs. Another funding source which we receive annually for Greenville County of about $1 million is called Home Investment Partnerships Program. This is for the creation or rehabilitation of affordable housing. When we say affordable, we mean for households earning under 80% AMI, and we try to target either a housing or a rent payment, a housing payment of approximately 30% of one's gross income. And so that can fluctuate where that payment lies. And as I mentioned, this is going to be for housing for sale or for rent. What you see on the screen and the images here are the Fairview townhomes, which we have here in Greer, and which we worked with the city to collaborate on and to construct. Some other GCRA housing programs and what they do, as we mentioned, we can develop we can develop in-house, or we can partner with other developers to construct affordable units, either for sale or for rent. We have a first-time home buyers program in which households earning under 80% area median income can get down payment assistance to purchase their first home. This is run through an organization called Community Works Carolina. It's a very popular program. The funding for that goes pretty quick because down payment assistance is needed. We have an investor program for rental rehabilitation. So if you're an investor, you're renting out your home, it needs some repairs, we can fund those repairs with the condition that it's then rented at an affordable price. We also have an owner-occupied rehabilitation program specifically for seniors. So if you've got a senior, or if there's a senior household that needs home repairs to make the place safe, warm, and dry, or accessible, we have a program for that. Typically, that looks like grant funds anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 to make those repairs. The only condition being that they continue to live in their home as a primary residence. We also partner with other organizations that'll do a repairs on a home in which you don't have to be a senior. We can also finance in-house for home buyers looking to obtain financing that perhaps can't get financing through a bank or their credit union. We have an option to look into whether we can finance that. We also administer rental assistance programs, one of which is administered through Greer Relief. So if you're a household that's fallen behind on rent or utilities, and you need to make some back payments to bring you current in order to avoid eviction or the lights being shut off, there's a program for that, and we can help assist with funding with that. We've done many projects over the years in Greer. Some of the most recent projects are the Fairview Townhomes here in Greer, and also a lot of the facades that you see on Main Street. We've assisted in providing grant funding to uplift that facade. Upcoming projects that we have earmarked to be done in the City of Greer. One is a housing project on Harris Street, and this is through an organization which applied to funding from us called Greer Community Outreach Center, Inc. And so our role in projects like this is typically to provide what's called gap funding. So whatever the project can't support in permanent debt, we would cover the difference in order to make it a viable project up to a certain amount. So this is a project that is under consideration and proposed for the upcoming year. It's still under consideration and in conditional award, so there's a lot more due diligence and, for lack of a better word, underwriting and some back and forth in finalizing the project, but it is planned for the upcoming year. Subrecipients that we're funding, and this is for either the city or nonprofits, as you can see here, Parks and Recreation Senior Program for this $3,750, Parks and Rec Youth Program for $8,000, Creative Advancement for $5,000, Greer Community Ministries for $18,500, and Greer Relief for $24,750. We're also partnering with the City of Greer to construct 2 homes on Spring Street, so those are vacant lots. Those lots were deeded to GCRA in order to construct affordable units from the City of Greer a few months ago. Next steps, like I mentioned, we're open for public comment, either made in this forum or via email, and I'll share that email next. Public comment runs until March 27th, although that's specific to this municipality. You can still submit a public comment in April once we actually release the larger planning document. And another next step from the city is to sign the resolution approving the budget for the upcoming year. That resolution has estimated amounts. Those amounts get trued up once we receive from HUD what the actual allocation is. Thank you for listening. Open for questions.
Let's start with council. Council?
Could you explain to me, on the resolution there, it has the funds listed under CDBG and home, and the program income under home is a negative 600,000. I don't understand that.
Right. It's something that needs to be answered, a negative amount. So when we've partnered with the city on creating the Fairview Townhomes, we had to budget future years for the cost of the construction of those townhomes, and then paying the debt service on that loan. So until those townhomes are completely constructed and sold, the balance will fluctuate because part of that contains future set-asides of upcoming year's allocations. Is that
Probably should have.
satisfactory?
Probably should have spelled that out in it. So there's still program income to the home program, but right now it's all being payback.
Correct. I mean, that number is obviously a placeholder number until it changes as future years' allocations are budgeted towards this project, essentially.
Okay, how do we know what it actually is at any given moment?
You could always reach out to us and we can provide that information.
That's the first time I've ever seen that. That's kind of new to me.
Yeah.
There are how many lots still available out there? Do you know?
I think we just had some movement a couple days ago, so.
We have two more fish on the line, so to speak. We have 6 sold, we have 8 still available for sale in phase 1. We have 8 we're working contracts on right now. Hoping now we've got a different marketing push in place. We're hoping to finish those up. All 14 of those units. Out of the 14, there's 19 remaining to be done in multiple phases, and we'll be.
$19 was the number. That's phase 2, basically, is what that was. Okay, thank you. All right. Others?
What low to moderate income sections of Greer, because that's where these funds will be applied, what areas are identified by you guys in our city that are considered low to moderate income?
So we don't identify areas per se. We first identify what the activity is or what we want to do. And then we identify whether we have to whether we're going to tie it to benefiting households, because then if we can get household data, then we don't have to consider an area. If we're doing something like an infrastructure project or something that benefits an entire area, then we would look into the data to look at whether that area is justifiably a primarily low to moderate income area. So, and this is the areas, the areas are based on American Community Survey census block groups. And so that's the lowest common denominator is a block group. But I'm uncertain which census block groups right now within Greer are low to moderate income, but I can get back to you with that information.
Others? Questions?
Let me ask a question real quick. The townhouses that were built, are they for sale on the open market, or you have to qualify, or how does that work?
They are for sale on the open market, so you can find them on Zillow.
Okay.
What you'll see is a sales price of approximately $250,000. Once we make contact with someone, we will ensure that they earn typically under 80% of area median income for the last year, which is approximately $77,000 for a household of 4.
Okay.
And then as long as they qualify on that, we'll look at how much we need to provide essentially in subsidy so that their first mortgage amount is approximately, say, $200,000 so that they can afford that payment. And then GCRA will provide essentially a seller contribution or a second loan behind the first that requires no payments and is at a 0% interest rate, which just hangs on to secondary financing. And so, yeah, it's open to the free market. It's open, you can find it, and yeah, we do an eligibility check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comments? Further discussion? Questions? All Mr. Smith, we thank you for joining us this evening as well, too. Thank you, sir, for being here. This is a public hearing. I'd like to open the public hearing at this point. If you are here and would like to ask a question of either staff or Mr. Arnez, this would be the point in time to do it. If you would like to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand. A second opportunity for you to ask a question or make a comment in regards to our annual CDBG funding for the program year 2026. Seeing none. And a third and final time, if you would like to make a comment as to the allocation of the Greenville County CDBG and home funds for program year 2026, or ask a question, please raise your hand. Third and final call, no one indicated that they wish to do so. With that then, that information is brought to us. We will need to take action in that regard. We've got a motion and a second, I believe, not yet. Then we will take care of that and proceed with the vote. I'll entertain a motion that we receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion among council at this point? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, let's move to the first reading of ordinance number 7-2026. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a certain property owned by Susan and Stephen Davis located at 209 Windsor Road by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of suburban neighborhood for said property. Ms. Stahl joins us for this discussion.
Good evening. This is ordinance 7-2026. The address is 209 Windsor Road, and the request is to annex and zone to suburban neighborhood with the intent of building one single-family house. Here's the aerial of the property. The property is 0.84 acres. Here's the zoning map. The surrounding zoning is rural residential. The future land use in the area is traditional neighborhood. And here is a photo of existing conditions at the site. Once again, the request is to annex and zone to suburban neighborhood. The surrounding zoning and land uses are residential. Therefore, staff recommends approval.
For the purpose of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Questions?
Can you go back to the slide? I'm just interested to see, on there you had, there was 2 areas that were unzoned Greenville County. What is,
Everything to the west.
Is that on this last slide?
south and west?
Yes, directly south, the adjacent parcel. It's on the side property line.
Okay.
So basically, everything uncolored is Greenville County.
Correct.
So I believe in that area, Windsor Road is part of the city, right?
But I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
The road.
The road,
belongs-
yes, it's in the City of Greer.
Yeah.
Others? Discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, let's move to item 4. This is the first reading of ordinance number 8-2026. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a certain property owned by Benjamin Hughes located Jr., located at 1471 West Wade Hampton Boulevard by 100% petitioning to establish a zoning classification of commercial corridor for said property. Ms. Stahl.
Yes, this is ordinance 8-2026. The address of the parcel is 1471 West Wade Hampton Boulevard. This is a request to annex and zone to commercial corridor, this one parcel. We believe it'll be part of several parcels along Wade Hampton that will be annexed and zoned commercial corridor with the intent of building a commercial development. Here's the aerial of the parcel. It's 0.86 acres. The zoning map shows the surrounding zoning as commercial corridor. The future land use in the area is suburban commercial. Here are the current conditions at the site. Once again, the request is to annex and zone to commercial corridor. The surrounding zoning and land uses are predominantly commercial. This is in accordance with the surrounding area, so staff recommends approval.
Council, with the recommendation of approval from staff, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Floor is open for discussion.
Do you believe that there's other parcels that are going to be, all this will be combined?
Yes, I think the other two parcels, they'll bring those into annex as well,
The one
and they'll combine
fronting
them.
Wade
The
Hampton.
ones fronting Wade Hampton.
Be nice, clean that area up.
Yeah, we voted on, to the right, I guess, east, just a few meetings ago.
Two parcels. They are doing auto repair shop
Yes,
there.
yep.
They actually haven't come back in to see us again yet. They're working on their civil plans right now.
Yeah, this is the old rear rim and tire, whatever it was. And I think next door to it's a pawn shop that's still standing.
Yes.
The building
Still
is.
The
standing.
building is.
Yeah, they've been out of business for a long time. Others? Questions or comments?
Mayor, we have someone.
Since it is the first reading, are you a owner or representative of the owner of the property? Yes?
Yes.
Would you like to speak?
I was just gonna say it's actually the one at the bottom as well, so the lot at the bottom and two to the right.
Oh, we only had
I know, I'm
this
just
one
saying
on the
potential.
petition. Okay, gotcha.
That's all I was
Okay.
Because you guys were saying potential.
Say again? I didn't.
All right, yeah,
To the bottom and then two to the right.
That whole corner then.
if you'll come to the podium, please,
This one and then these two.
if you'll come to the podium, please, I think it'll make your comments a matter of record, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just saying the
You'll
one.
just state your name and,
Oh, Sean Atkinson, Woodhaven Development.
okay, thank you.
It's the one to the bottom as well.
Okay.
All the way to Chick Springs, or?
No, there's one sliver there that's residential that'll include all that. so.
Can you speak to the potential development,
Currently a bank on the corner.
a bank?
The Young's problem.
Thank you, sir.
Riley, you referred to this site during the opening of our Subaru Road station, didn't you? Said that was Walker Hannah ran a gas station there.
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
Esso. Of course, you got Jewel DeYoung,
Yep.
legend, and then pawn shop.
That was an Esso gas station?
Yep,
Really?
my neighborhood.
Walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
Others? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. First reading of ordinance number 9-2026. This is an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of an easement in certain real property inside the city of Greer. Mr. Gugelhauer joins us for this discussion.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. As the construction continues out there at our events, Sports and Events Center, we reached a point where we need to ask council to convey several utility easements for our service providers. In this first ordinance, number 9-2026, is a small sliver of land that will house CPW, a access point to the sanitary sewer. They will have a manhole. And we're asking council to submit, or to convey this easement to CPW. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
For the purpose of discussion, now I'll entertain a motion that it be received.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Floor is open for discussion. Comments? Questions? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. First reading of ordinance number 10-2026. This is an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of an easement in certain real property inside the city of Greer. Again, Mr. Gugelhauer joins us for that discussion. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, Mayor and Council. With this easement, Duke Power request access coming off of Highway 14, as the power is going to run underground, coming off 14 in that entrance and drive. It'll wrap up around our drive and down to the receiving and loading dock area where the transformer will be located. And if council has any questions, that's the easement that Duke is asking for.
For further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion in that regard?
John, where do they pick up the power from?
Well, and that's why I wish I had a slide to show you. If you're coming right at where our new entrance is, that's where the.
Off 14?
Off 14, yes, sir. And it'll
Okay.
drop down right there and then go follow up.
Is it overhead there now?
It's overhead there now. Well, they're bringing it in. We're putting a new pole. It'll come from south across 14 and come up to that pole. It'll drop down at that point, go underground, come all the way up the front of the entrance and then wrap around into the.
What is the likelihood that we could, I hate it when we add more poles. We're adding more to the pole forest that we have around here. Have there been talks, or could we have talks with Duke about when it crosses, because I'm assuming there is overhead on the other side.
There is, correct.
If they could drop down there and bore under 14 and come up there?
We didn't pursue that, didn't ask that question.
I would love it if we did, because it just,
Aesthetically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of takes away that, because the area right now as you're driving in is kind of clear as far as the sight, and I hate to see us adding to clutter.
We're actually taking away one pole. I mean, we're trying to tidy it up as best we can, but
Well, is it possible that we can talk to Duke and check about boring under?
at this point, sir, it would slow the project down. I mean, I don't know that we've got to
I'm not
get.
in a rush. Power.
Mr. Edwards, they will do it. We'll just have to pay for it.
How much?
I don't know. They're not, we're not adding a pole. It's coming to an existing pole.
Okay, so we're not going
The
to,
pole's there, we're just moving it over a little bit.
okay, but so.
We're not adding
net-
any poles.
Net
We
zero.
are taking away one.
Net zero.
Yeah, net zero.
Okay, all right.
Actually, it's a net -1,
Yeah.
because we are removing one pole.
All right,
But
good.
Mr. Airwood, to answer that question, so early on in the project, when we were discussing with Duke, the discussion was, what would it take to get everything adjacent to everything underground? And at that time, there was a price tag applied to that. I don't know what it was, but it was substantial enough to go, we'll just,
Well,
Not gonna go that
I'm
route.
sure it's, to do that boring, it is. And hopefully I'll be bringing an ordinance for council's consideration about, basically, we can title it "No More New Poles." Well, I'm serious.
I'm not arguing, I'm just.
But that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. Yeah.
Understood.
Where's the pole going to be relative to the entrance? Is it right next to the entrance, or is it on the opposite corner?
No, it would be near the entrance. It's not going to be hindrance to the entrance, but that's where it's coming in.
Okay.
We're going to have net zero poles, but we're adding a line.
We're moving a line.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have net zero
The
lines.
reason why we're moving the line is because there's the Parsonage house that's right next to our entrance. That house is where that pole currently sits. Because DOT is requiring us to change the driveway alignment of coming into ours, there has to be a certain turn radius there. That driveway is having to be relocated. So their driveway is going to move down, and because their driveway is moving, the pole's got to move as well. And so they're relocating the pole, but they're just bringing the power to the pole. It'll go down there and everything's underground from that point forward. But the driveway relocation is what made us start, if we weren't having to worry about that, the pole that's there now would stay in place.
And Duke is running the line and setting the transformer and everything for us?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Now, we've got Greer CPW for water, sewer. They didn't provide electric in this area, is it just Duke?
Because yeah, they would have, again, at a substantial cost. We approached them first. Their quote and estimate was for $425,000 without the transformer, where Duke would provide the transformer for free, and they would, of course, we're going to end up paying a little bit more in the service on the front end, but Duke is willing to work with us a whole lot more than CPW was at that time.
Good, all right, well, that's, okay.
Others? Questions? Comments? Discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, one further item in regards to conveyance of easement regarding water. This is an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of an easement in certain real property in the city of Greer. Mr. Kugelhauer, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, this is the final easement. It goes back to CPW dealing with our domestic water. The demand for this site is so high that we had to actually tap into two locations. We're tapping up at South Bumpkin and 14. And that line will be of such a size, it's 8-inch, and it would now be considered a main. With that being the issue, they will want to service that main, and that's why we're asking for this easement.
For the purpose of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion.
You're going to have two 8-inch taps?
We're going to have two, yes, sir. One at
Lot of
Buncombe
water.
and one at 14.
Okay.
Did our civil guys, who came up with that?
Yeah, it was our civil engineer with Davis and Floyd, yes, sir. I mean, they ran all the calculations, and it was, the demand required it.
I'm assuming one of them is for a fire line, I guess?
One of them, yes, sir.
Comments?
I guess during the process, do we figure out what utilities will cost? Is that how we come to the determination of some of this stuff, or
For this,
just in water? I mean, do we know what it will cost us in fees and potential water bill fee moving forward?
no, sir, I don't have any of that, any of those calculations at this point.
Now, if we're tapping two sides, I mean, is it because they would need a loop system to get enough pressure in the lines, or?
Yes, that increases the pressure to handle the load.
That's a very expensive tapping fees for 2 8-inches. Very expensive.
We have, I forget how many fixtures we got, not to mention all the fire hydrants and so forth and everything. There's a lot of water demand in this facility.
And they couldn't bring it down. That's correct.
Well,
Dang. All right.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Mayor, before we move on from this whole subject about the infrastructure for the building, I believe there was an issue about sewer in the very beginning, flow rates. Is that, am I,
There were some questions about upgrading the existing sewer line and drop inlet well, not drop inlet, but the one over at this neighborhood over there, South Farms. Yeah, that one. But that's been rectified. That is a non-issue.
Okay.
That is a non-issue.
Sutter Farms that's on the other side of 14?
Yeah, we're gravitating down to that one. That one required an upgrade. There was a couple issues on the calculations. All that's been rectified. It's no problem. They're gonna make, there's gonna be the necessary upgrades made on that one to accommodate. So all that problem's gone.
We're going to be going under 14?
We are. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow, didn't realize that. There's money in there. Might as well just run the power line through there, too.
Just strap it to the line.
Just when you're pushing in that pipe.
Last item of regular business this evening is a discussion in regards to the Sports and Events Center signage. This is for the purpose of discussion. This is led by Mr. Merriman.
Well, yeah, so, Mr. Mayor, council, thank you. There was some questions at the last council meeting. It was requested to be on this agenda to discuss the monument signage that has been slated for the Sports and Events Center. By way of reminder, we, as we were going through the exercise of cost and site planning, design, aesthetics, et cetera, the monument signage was decided on because, one, it's static, which means less expensive. Two, we did identify the area as a kind of a, to your point about the poles, a gateway. We were trying to establish some sort of gateway monumentation, letting everyone know that's coming into Greer that this is, you're now somewhere different. And so we were hoping that that signage would effectuate that. So cost and, again, a static sign that was part of an overall welcome to Greer as it pertains to a lot of the way we have done designs downtown and in other areas. I believe there's been some question about whether or not this council is interested in changing from a monument sign to some sort of digital or visual sign. And so that's why this is on the agenda today. Just to give you a little bit of a frame of reference, I think, and John and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, I think our entire signage package, which includes the monument sign, is somewhere in the neighborhood of 600,000, or is it 800,000? What's that number? No, that includes all interior signage, everything else is 350, okay. 350. We have comped a sign that would fit dimensionally what has been kind of set aside on the site, which would add an additional $150,000 to $200,000 of cost to our signage package to do a digital sign. This particular one is out of a city in Minnesota, and we do think that it meets, I think, what some council members have indicated they might like to see. So the question then is, one, is this council interested in us pursuing that and getting a better number on that? And two, what is it that y'all want to see? Or do you want to see a digital sign, or do you want to see a monument sign?
Mr. Mayor, if I may
Yeah.
just clarify one thing about what you just asked, just for some context for the discussion. As we were preparing for the GMP, we have engaged the services of a company called Smash, who's going to do our interior graphics, and will do the monument sign as budgeted. The amount that they submitted to us as a package for the entire facility to cover all interior signage, kind of a higher end, if you've been like to the new Spartanburger Stadium and the way those graphics are done, that type of effect. That package was $475,000. We elected in a GMP to put a $350,000 allowance for signage in the budget, saying that their package had all the bells and whistles, and that we, as we began, we're now starting to engage Smash on the fine tuning of the details of that sign, of the inside signs. All required signage will be done. It's just the extra graphical type stuff that'll be in there. We said that we're going to put $350,000 worth of signage inside the building and also cover the monument. I just want to clarify that point. So the sign package was higher for those graphics and everything, but we only put a $350,000 allowance. I just want to clarify that.
So we got a proposal from a possible vendor for 475
No, so
with a
we do not have a
monument?
we do not have a proposal. Well, we do not. What we
It's a
did was.
budgetary number.
Yeah, we did a placeholder for the digital sign to get an idea of what we can expect our cost to be if we went the digital sign route. So effectively, what we've done is this, and I'll give you some examples. We've got the placeholder signage, and Lindsay, John, jump in. The placeholder signage that we've got at the site now is about 18 by 12 or 13 feet high, okay, 3 feet wide. Placeholder. We know that it'll fit in the area that we've got for the signage. So with those limitations, Harper helped us, along with staff, find a sign of comparable nature that is digital, that has that visual reader board. And so that cost, which is fairly, was it 2022 numbers, maybe, 22 numbers, had somewhere in the neighborhood of $165,000 for that type of sign, okay? 4 years later, $200,000, we're ballparking right now. Okay,
That's the company out of Minnesota.
this is the city in Minnesota that has built a similar facility that has the kind of sign that would fit, that we think, I think y'all may want to see, or at least a couple of you may have indicated you may want to see out in front of the Sports and Event Center. It would be representative of the type of quality that we're putting into the Sports and Event Center. This isn't one of those red kind of reader boards that are running across there. This is an actual digital sign that has significant graphical capabilities.
Yeah, that you control with a computer,
You
basically.
control the
program it.
computer, and we're not sitting up there like a Wendy's and we're popping the
So,
things in there.
Tonight only.
Yeah.
currently, when we have a tournament, we want to advertise it, so what was like the plan with a monument sign that's static?
In that particular case, we had no intention of advertising the existence of the Adidas tournament that's coming in May. It was just going to be there, and then through all of our social media outreach and those other opportunities was how the word would get out, because these are, tournaments that, you could go buy a ticket to see if you wanted to go see Zion Williamson go play basketball in our gym. Yes, you could see that. However, in this particular case, the sign was going to be the landmark for the facility itself and part of that gateway intent coming into the city. So we, from a programmatic standpoint, had no intention of advertising on the outside the event that was taking place there. We were going to utilize social media and other forms of communication. That was the intent.
You could also use that, or I kind of see a good benefit, big benefit from you having a digital sign, because you could say, hey, it's the Big Bash.
Yeah,
This
you can use
Saturday,
it for
right?
other events at other places.
Greer plays Riverside.
That's right. And
Whatever.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think, and all this stems from, I'm very big on what we do needs to represent where we came from, where we are, where we're going, that kind of thing. And the building doesn't really lend itself to any of that. Maybe, hopefully, we still having the plans about the artwork that shows Greer athletics from years ago. But since one of our values is athletics, I think it's very important that we, and this is a throwback to the Greer Citizen, when there would be a baseball game, the Legion was playing, they would put a sandwich board out front, game tonight, home game tonight, and they would list the times. I think it would be great because we don't just value the athletics or the recreation or the benefits that come from it. We don't just value that if it comes from the city. I believe we value it as a whole from, the athletics going on in the city, within our boundaries. And that includes, Riverside and Greer and everything going on there. And because it is digital, from a keyboard, somebody can put that in there. And also, if we have a tournament, a basketball tournament there, whatever's going to go on there, whatever we know is going to go on and whatever we may not even know that's going on there, we put that message out there and on that sign to let folks driving by know. Because in the words of Charles Barkley from a few days ago, I don't do social media. And so there's a lot of folks that they just don't do it, but they're driving down the road and they say, I'd like to go to that. And so they make that plan and they do that. I think it's a very important, it would be a very important asset there's a lot to be lost if we don't.
There'll be
have
more
that.
maintenance to it in the future.
Oh,
You gotta
ongoing
expect
cost.
that.
Yeah.
But-
There will be.
But I think it'll be worth it.
No, I agree. And now, what I would like to see, if council says, let's do it, before anything is done, I want to see something from the sign company and have it placed in there.
Absolutely.
And I don't guess we engage the services of, what's the big sign company here in town? Garfield.
Well, that was my question. Is there nowhere closer than Minnesota to do this sign?
Well, hey, no, let me be clear. The sign,
That's not the
the sign isn't Minnesota. We just used a facility in Minnesota that had recently purchased a sign, and that's just what we were using for benchmarking the
see.
cost. We wouldn't be getting the sign from Minnesota. A facility in Minnesota bought a sign, this is what I think y'all want, this is
Okay.
the cost, that
I
was
got
it.
you. I got you.
You gotten any opinions from Ann or Adam?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to speak necessarily for Adam, or I'd let him speak if he was in here. I think, Mike, you've had a lot of conversation with him, but I think that, moving forward with just the monument signage is, I think, where they would rather be. And I think more to the point, because it is a little bit of a slippery slope, okay? Because there may be an expectation that signage become a community reader board that will have Happy Birthday Timmy and all of the things and then there's a level of expectation out there that we may not be able to fulfill. And nor do I want to potentially have to be in a position to where we're, jockeying for time on the reader board, because there's Greer versus Riverside in basketball on a Tuesday night, but we also trying to advertise for an event that we're having. So there's this jockeying for position on there. There's the maintenance cost. There's the staff time that it would take. So anyway, there's a number of issues that come along with that. And these signs have a tendency sometimes to get rather dated. You lose a pixel or two on it, and that's something we're gonna have to continue to maintain. Again, these are not things that can't be done. The sign is not gonna be one and done, whereas a monument sign largely is one and done.
Do we have any estimate of an annual maintenance cost on it? Is there any way to estimate that?
At this point, the question is, what would it take to get us up and running?
The way I respond to that about everything requires maintenance. And if we wanted something, if you want something first class, you just don't build a concrete wall. You put windows in it and you put lighting on the outside. You do whatever. I think this sign brings it up a notch. And it does not limit it to our ability to advertise just what's going on there. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be put on there as far as your comment about a slippery slope, that's simple. I mean, if it has to do with recreation or tourism, it belongs on that sign.
Your idea of a monument, is that just a ground lit thing?
Well, actually, we haven't gone that far down the road of actually finalizing the design of what that's gonna look like. But I personally had envisioned something more iconic than a standard boring monument sign. I think something that's really indicative, not so much an art piece, but something that just pops, for lack of a better term, as you're coming up the road, that's not necessarily a flashing sign or something that's got graphics on it, but something that is very unique to Greer.
But it's that way forever though, right? Is
What's
what you're
that?
talking about? The monument sign you're talking about?
Somebody
yeah.
hits it, yeah.
Till somebody hits it, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Again, hang on, Mr. Sherwood, let me just say this. We went the route we went because it was a cost savings and it was simple enough to put a sign out there that set off the area as you come into town as a gateway. And that was full stop, that was it. If this council wants us to put in a digital sign, we will go, we can, now's the time.
yeah.
Well, here's my question, Andy. I don't know, I think it's really a question of misplacing some value. Why would you not put a world-class sign on that structure where you've put this humongous raceway sign on the new fire station that doesn't even really need to be there? I mean, that's a beautiful sign, but who the hell needs to know with a big lighted sign like that it's a fire station? I think that's a waste.
Well, there's going to be.
Now, that's a monument sign that you should have had there.
There's going to be signage on the facility. There's going to be signage on the facility. This just becomes a question of preference and aesthetics. And again,
Well, who selected that sign for the fire station?
we went through that process when we were going through the design of the fire station. I think that
Are you talking about the one
one
that's on
on
the
the-
building?
on
The lighted sign on the front of the building.
On the actual
on the
building?
building,
Yeah.
The
it was just part of the design process.
I think
Yeah,
this
you
is
didn't see that
part,
sign?
I think
Well, it's a beautiful commercial sign, but my God.
I think this is part of a bigger discussion.
Station 40, yeah.
That there are some things that, as far as plans, need to be seen by council and reviewed. And I'll give you, and y'all get your giggles out of it if you want to, but as we've been finishing up the project at Kids Planet, I kept asking, and then we found out, well, we're going to repave the driveway going in. And I asked many times, or I mentioned many times, we need to pour this in concrete. That place is not a good spot for asphalt for a lot of different reasons. And so as the project's going on, I asked, well, I don't know what we're going to, it was all, no one had an answer. I didn't see any plans. And then I found out by driving by, we did it in asphalt. And you know, the reason, and it may have been less expensive to do it up front, but I think in the long run, it's, and I believe in 12 months, you're going to see mirror cracking coming up. But neither here nor there. What I'm using that as an example is that I think that we as council on some of these things really need to be more involved. And one other, and I don't know how it's going to look. I can't get it in my mind. But as we're coming up, as you're driving into town on 14, you're looking at a wall that is concrete, a lot of wall that is concrete. There's no real finish to it. And maybe there is a plan to put some kind of finish on it to soften it somewhat. I mean, we've done it at that corner, and then when you turn it to go in what's going to be the proper front of the building, you know, we've got the built-in brick. But the backside, which is a lot of concrete, and then actually, don't know how high it is, hard to get a reference because there's a fence there, but from the grade up, there's nothing but, this is fronting 14, not just facing southward, but it's actually, there's nothing but bare concrete. And then the inlaid brick begin. And so, you know, what I don't want to take control of any project. I just want to make sure that when we're spending the money, when we spend any money, that it's done and we're done properly and done, we wind up with a project that you know, it really pops, because we want this to pop.
I think it's called advise and consent.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
You know, and I'll go back to this sign package. I guess personally, I'm really struggling with what makes a flashing sign Greer. I guess that's part of what I'm really struggling with. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the signs anyway, but I just can't make this connection between a 20-foot-high flashing sign and a board sign in front of the old Greer Citizen.
But,
I mean,
it's not the technology we're talking about. It's the advertising of the advertising of the athletics that's going on in our community at that particular time.
And it according to, I guess it was AI, at 45 miles an hour, you've got 6 seconds to recognize 32 characters. I mean, are we going to get all of that on there in one thing? And you know, if we're having a tournament, you know, or is it going to say the tournament and it's $20 to get in, or whatever it is for, you know, for the tournament play? I'm just not making the connection on this as to how it's going to be effective. I drive by a lot of signs that are scrolling all the time, and I don't know that I really whip in if I see something I think I might like.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to construct a sign. I mean, you've got to have the right contrast and the size lettering. The number of impressions that a good sign right there would make, billboard people could give you a pretty good number. It's going to be a really big number with the amount of traffic going by.
There's going to be a lot of people that see it because it's one of the busiest entrances to the city. I just wonder how that translates to people that are going to want to either stop and come to an event or are planning to come to an event that you know, and I get the idea that we're going to have, you know, you could put Big Bash Saturday night on there and maybe people would come, you know, to that. But I'm just not clear on this other. I mean, I was looking some of these factors up. I mean, in Florida, you can't even put an electronic sign on a Florida DOT road.
But you wouldn't build a Bon Secours Center without a great big sign on it, and
it's in an urban area where you're sitting at a stoplight and you can watch that whole sign screen through 3 times.
Well, that's a pretty urban area right there. I mean,
Yeah, and you're going 45 miles an hour until you get to the stoplight, and then it changes
I
to
travel
35.
that road a lot. Regardless, this is a discussion we should have had a long time ago, instead of down at the.
Well, we've still got time to do it, and we're going to vote on it. I mean, you know, at some point.
Well, yeah, but
I'm just.
It's not. Let me say this, Mayor. The tying it into the sandwich board. The sandwich board, I guarantee you, everybody that saw it didn't go down to the ball game. But at least it was advertised, and people knew, know what is going on and with the athletics, because we value that. We shouldn't say things that we value if we don't. One of the things that we have to do, because we try to do it with social media, is that we don't have the typical, the old original print media. Now, we are represented by a reporter here tonight. It's a newspaper, and it's digital, and that's great. But you could open up the local newspaper, and it would have a calendar of events. This is what's going on. Well, I think that kind of helps that along, but it also shows that we believe, we mean what we say. We value athletics, so therefore, we're going to support athletics in the city. And
I think a 210,000 square foot building says that we support athletics.
that says that we value it for the city, the city proper and the athletics that's going on in that building, period. It doesn't say anything else about the athletics that takes place outside the umbrella of the city, our administration. It doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say anything about the high school athletics or Legion Ball or the kickball tournament, whatever. You know, it's, I think that it's important and that we lose the ability to just let people know. I mean, as a percentage of this whole project, it's nothing.
Oh, I'm not talking about the cost. I just, you know.
What about the McMillan guys? They did the architectural design on this building. I mean, do they have an opinion, or are they just going to do
The
as we
opinion
say?
that I received from them is very similar to what I've tried to articulate, is that these digital signs have a tendency to get dated. They are a ongoing maintenance cost, and there's a lot that can be done with a monument sign to give the panache that you want with a facility like that. Now, all that being said, again, I apologize, Mr. Airwood, that you don't feel like you were engaged in this, and quite frankly, this was a cost and aesthetic decision that was easy to make from my perspective because it was a significant cost savings. And that's why, in order to bring this project at the level we could from a cost perspective, we just cut any further discussion of digital signage. Yes, you're right. Had we had this discussion 8 months ago, we wouldn't be here today and we would know where we are, but we didn't. And so I need to know, quite frankly, from this council, whether or not you want to go with a digital sign, and we will deliver a digital sign within the constraints of the property that we have to put the sign on.
Can we not pursue a design and price, just to kind of get an idea of what we are talking about?
We can do that.
I do want to make one point, just so council's aware as part of their consideration. It's my understanding that this will require, if we do this, a modification to the UDO.
Yeah.
So we will have to bring that to council because they're not allowed in that district on that corridor. And if it is passed, it will open up for others to be able to implement the same sign. Just wanted to provide that information for council's consideration. But it will require a modification to the UDO, and it will allow others on at 14 corridor to put those same signs up.
Sure. Hey, here you go. First, 100% with Riley. We went way too much on the sign for the fire department. Fire department looks great, and I'm glad it does, and I'm glad it's a great building, but that's true. All right. We're a citizen. Well, I loved it. It's great, but that's past us. Not coming back. Sandwich boards aren't coming back. Social media is the future. It might not be for me. It might not be for a lot of people, but for 10 years from now, it's all they're going to communicate on. The city puts out, I don't know how many Facebook pages the city has, and then there's so much on the city website. It's hard to, there's so much information, everything's there. And if you want to click on it to follow it, you'll get it in your feeds. And if you don't, well, you don't. Look, monument versus digital. Last time we talked about this, I was really on the digital bandwagon. Still straddling, I guess. But that monument looks awful damn good, or sounds awful good, because it would be a nice entry to the city. I mean, it makes there's some logic to that. Do want to see some numbers. Readability, Rick's 100% right. God, Bon Secours, it is perfect. You gotta sit there at the red light, so you know, it's great for that. If we put a digital in, and if we put all the stuff that we keep talking about, that's gonna be half of somebody's job sitting there doing that.
We have a communications department for that. I mean, that's one of the things they do.
I understand, but that's still more labor. So I'm just putting things out there. Now, I'm not opposed to seeing something. I'm not opposed, to a lot of things until I see something really actionable.
How far into the process are we for interior designs and all that? Like, have we started that process? I know you mentioned
Or like
Smash.
signage inside the
Just
facility? or-
in general, colors, all that stuff. We started that yet?
We have conceptual designs, we have furniture, a palette of furniture to select from. We have the sign package that Smash put together with graphics, the interior signage, paint colors. We have a palette for all that. I would say, we're probably more than halfway through that process, but final decisions have not been made on most of it. I mean, I think we've picked colors to a certain extent.
With the assistance of our
That all
Advisory
through,
committee.
all through MPS are.
Don't let us
architectural
look at
design
colors,
folks.
we've established.
And, and there's a few things remaining. One of them is the community room. What is what we're going to do in there, but,
But the advisory committee is still engaged?
Yes, the next event we've actually got scheduled with them is the topping out ceremony. However, they have seen most of that furniture and coloring package and through the signage package. So yes, they've seen it.
So, I mean, my biggest issue, and I think this is really why we're having this discussion, is because, we have the advisory committee making the choices, but from a building standpoint, the only engagement we've had as a council was you asked us for the money to approve the 60 million. You came back, asked for more money to increase the budget. We did the approval of the bid packages. We approved 3 easements tonight. The only time I've actually seen what the building looks like was when we did it a few months ago. And we really haven't had progress updates other than that we're on schedule and that we're within budget. I really don't even know what the building looks like, don't even know what the colors are. I think if we have some more updates here, it would be a lot more beneficial and we wouldn't get on tangents of a sign, whether we want a digital sign or not.
Yes, sir.
All right, this matter was for discussion only. I think we've taken care of that at this point.
So how does it stand? I mean, what?
We're going to wait until we've got some conceptual designs.
I think the consent is that I will be bringing back to you some conceptual designs and some costing for that.
For both.
Yes, sir.
Charles got a good
I got
design.
the
He's got a
design
good
done.
design here that's really, I mean, he does. He literally does. It covers all the bases.
All right. With that then, council, that was the last item before us for our regular meeting. We do have one contractual matter to discuss this evening in executive session. I'll entertain a motion that we go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to enter into an executive session to discuss a contractual matter pertaining to public art as allowed by state statute, section 30-4-70A2.
Thank you, sir. Comes as a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Duncan?
Oh, got a question. What's this about? Public art,
It's a contractual matter
I
regarding
got
the,
that, but what kind of public art? Whose public art are we talking about?
Well, won't we make that public, like if we have to take action on it coming out?
So it is a contract.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're talking about money, buying public art, or we don't know?
Talking about agreements with property owners for the purposes of public art, not necessarily the art itself.
Motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
No.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we will come out of executive session, and we'll determine at that time if there is any action to be taken